All right, so moving along now, let's take a look at a little scrap of proof that shows you that these common law concepts really are almost universal. I mean, this is the stuff that's written in our heart. That's the thing about common law. This is why we don't need tomes, gigantic tomes upon tomes of all of these laws and statutes and codes and la la la. We don't need it, okay? Because the stuff that really matters is in the heart of every person that has even a shred of decency in them. And I think that that's almost everyone, right? Most people, if they're acting badly, it's because of the circumstances, right? Circumstances make people do bad things, and of course bad education and bad upbringing, right? But almost everybody's got at least a shred of decency in them, and they intuitively understand this stuff. That's why it's the best. That's why it's not necessary to have legions of lawyers and stacks of books, right? It's not necessary. That's for legal code, legal fiction stuff. We don't need that. Let me show it to you, right? So here we go. This is a notice that I put together for the fella that runs the store underneath my apartment in Brooklyn. Okay, they get pretty noisy sometimes with their whatever they're doing, repairs, upgrades, changing the shelves. I honestly don't even know what they do, but they get pretty noisy sometimes. And I don't mind that during the day, but at night, that's a problem, right? So I got different ways I could handle this. I could call the police, but so what am I doing now, right? I am voluntarily now dealing with the legal fictions, right? The NYPD, right? That's a legal fiction. And these officers that, legal fiction titles, okay? I'm voluntarily interacting with them. I'm calling them, right? I'm jumping in bed with them, and whatever happens, I ask for it, right? I could do that. I could write complaints to the city. But again, that's one path, and that's the path of civil law and all that stuff, and I don't want that. So I won't common law on this guy. And you're going to just love this, right? So let me just give you a little bit of background, right? So, these guys downstairs that run the store, I'm not quite sure where they're from. I want to say might be Uzbekistan. I feel like I heard that somewhere, but in any event, it doesn't matter. They're not from here, okay? They may be American now, but they, were not American on the day that they were born. They come from whatever culture, whatever country, somewhere in Eastern Europe, or some of these guys maybe even like Middle East actually. So a lot of them look Middle Eastern. But regardless, I can tell by their language and all of that. I mean, by a lot of different things. They not from here originally. So, given the fact that there aren't that many common law countries on planet Earth, I think it's safe to say they didn't come out of a common law country, except for they did. Because this stuff is in the hearts of every individual who has a scrap of decency in them, right? Let me show it to you. Okay? Sending this to the man. I don't even know who he was, right? I had to hand this to the manager. So I sent it to the man who sometimes acts as manager and the man who claims ownership for Handy Mart, the store, right? Now, Handy Mart's in all caps because that's definitely a corporation. These other two, Mr. Manager and Mr. Owner, no, I want the living man. That's who I'm talking to, right? Making that real clear. Now, I hand-delivered this. I didn't need to send it certified. I delivered it myself. I'm capable of testifying in court. Yes, I handed it directly to that man right there, okay? So that's my proof of delivery, right? I'm willing to testify to it, right? So you see, this is a super nice letter. I wrote this a little bit differently because I figure English is probably not this individual's first language. Maybe I'm mistaken, but it wouldn't be right for me to write him in all this highfalutin English, and that's not his first language, right? It's just the thing, you got to be honorable. Don't try to make it so people can't understand. You want them to understand. So nice and sweet here. Greetings. I'm writing to give you lawful notice that the late night, right, after 21:30, right, so that's 9:30 p.m. for anybody who doesn't do 24-hour time. The late night work noise you allow at Handy Mart is causing harm to me. It's not hurting my feelings, okay? You know what I mean? Like, it's not making me feel annoyed. I'm not telling you I don't like it. No, I'm telling you it's harming me. You are causing harm to a man. Be warned. How is it harming me? It's disrupting my sleep and it's disturbing my peace. We all heard about disturbing the peace, right? Don't want to get caught doing that. So I'm saying that's what you're doing to me, okay? I say that you have allowed late night work on at least 3 separate nights in the past 7 days. I require you stop allowing late night work and noise at Handy Mart. I say that if you continue, I'm not threatening, but I may make a claim, in case you don't know what that is, lawsuit against you personally at a court of record, okay? Making it real clear for him. This is dum-dum proof. I affirm herein to be true, la 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 la. So, I will tell you, I didn't immediately get the outcome that I was looking for, but let me tell you what happened, right? So I delivered that to the manager and I let him know it is imperative that you pass this along to the owner. This is a lawful document. So if he wants to drop the ball, that's fine. Now it's on him, right? So I made it real clear to him. And of course, I recorded this with my little body cam, okay? Oh man, it must have been maybe a month later and they were drilling, doing something ridiculous underneath me. It was like 10:45 at night, something like that. And so put my shoes on, put my body camera on. I went down there with a nice smile. I said, well, this is just beautiful. And I'm just getting the whole scene. I'm getting the noise and everything. And they're all looking at me and looking at the camera. I was like, I warned you, man. I warned you. So now I'm down here getting documentation for the lawsuit. Boy, that manager came out. I'm sorry, da-da-da. We talked. They immediately stopped. And a day or two later, he contacted me, the manager. He said, "Hey, look, here's the owner's phone number. He wants you to reach out to him so that we can basically make arrangements to do this work at a time where it will not disturb you." So I called up the owner, and we had a nice little friendly chat. I mean that, a nice friendly chat. We understood each other. We had a man-to-man conversation, and we arrived at an agreement and understanding. And subsequently, he has called me and said, "Hey, man, da-da-da, we got to do this. How about during this time?" And I'll either say, yeah, perfect, or you know what, if we could wrap it up by this time, that'd be great. They've been honorable. They've done what they needed to do, what I required them to do, what they said they were going to do. It's been beautiful. Nobody had to go to court. Nobody had to waste time and money on any nonsense. We didn't have to get the cops involved. You see how that worked out? Nice and honorable, nice and simple. So that's just one way of applying a notice. Okay, they're useful for so many things. But so here's my point in terms of common law being everywhere and proving how ancient this is. These individuals, the owner in particular, the owner, when he got that letter, he understood. He understood. Don't matter that he didn't come from a common law country. Don't matter that he don't know anything about common law. He understood, because he's got a scrap of decency at least. He understood what I'm saying to him. He understood that what he was doing was dishonorable. It was not honorable what he was doing. And I communicated with him honorably and respectfully. I didn't give him an excuse to be like, F this guy, he's being an a-hole. No, I gave him no excuses for nothing. I didn't go down there yelling. I went down there with my camera and a smile. Okay, so I handled it honorably. He handled it honorably. Problem solved. No need for outside parties. Common law is so common that it's everywhere, even not in common law countries. It's in people's hearts. Okay? That's my proof for that. I could offer a lot more, but that's something that I did recently and got a great result. And again, the man was not born in America. So where he get this stuff from? We all have a sense inside of us of right and wrong. And what's important is that those of us that are trying to get a wrong righted, we come at the other person honorably and respectfully. Don't put an obstacle in their way to behaving honorably with a bunch of hostile language. And I'm going to do this and you're this and that, la la la. Like, not only is that not really honorable, but you're not helping them to be honorable. You know what I mean? Getting their passion stoked, right? Make it easy for people, man. Make it easy for people. Okay? Let's take a quick look at one other one that I used, all right? This was to avoid withholding taxes, all right? Simple. This is a super duper short one, right? I'm a private person known as Logan Ryder. I'm domiciled, right? Because I'm not a resident. I'm domiciled at this place. I offer my skills and services to you for compensation in a private capacity. Right? I'm a private person reaching out to another individual. And maybe he runs a business. That's not my business. I'm communicating with this man and I'm letting him know that I'm offering my skills and services in exchange for compensation. I didn't say I wanted a paycheck. I didn't say I need income. I said I want to be compensated. Okay? I do not consent to the status. Y'all need to read that tome of law that I got up on the webpage. Status of an employee. Right? Because employee, right? That's legal fiction. Contractor, legal fiction. Consultant, legal fiction, right? Not that they own these words, but I just want to make it clear in case any taxing authorities want to get it twisted. I don't consent to those statuses. You could try to force it on me, and I'd be happy to have that discussion, but I'm telling you now that I don't consent to that. I'm not a taxpayer. Taxpayer is a legal term. And I'm not subject to any withholdings. I will be honorable in my conduct as a private person in all business with you. Real simple stuff. So what I've done there is I've set myself up to not have to fill out a W-4 and not have to be paid as an employee. Now, of course, you got to find individuals that are willing to do that, right? And of course, there are a lot of people that won't be, but it just so happens that I found a good man in New York who runs a business, and he's willing to let me do that. He said, you know what, I have no problem with this. And I told him, I said, hey, listen, I realize that may make you liable for some of these taxes. I don't know, really. I don't know how all of that stuff works, but it's no problem if you need to shave a little bit off of what you're giving me in order to offset any kind of tax liability that you may be taking on by not throwing me on not asking me to do a W-4, right? Which lawfully, I don't think they can require you to do that. But that's a separate conversation. I wanted to do this nice and simple because I like the man. And he said, yep, no problem. So there you go. No withholdings from that compensation that I get. Okay, other things I do pay taxes on because I believe that the way I obtain that is taxable, especially when I filled out this form and I've done those other things for that, but not for this, right? Okay, I can walk and I can swim. I can be an independent contractor that gets a 1099 for this guy, and I can not be for this guy, right? I'm a man. I'm unlimited for the most part, right? I got the power to contract the way I wish. Okay, contract, right? We can write up our own contracts and have witnesses. That's the way it used to be. What is the notary? What are you talking about? People be out living somewhere. They know notary. So you write it up. You get a couple witnesses. You might use red ink. You might put your thumbprint down with red ink or red wax like they used to do in the ancient days. Okay? There's no reason we can't do those things. They haven't been outlawed. There's nothing unlawful about it. No one being harmed. More to come. Piece at a time. I hope you're following me.